The 4 films in the John Wick franchise came with so many characters. Most of them were fighters, assassins, and daredevils. With the franchise centered around the protagonist, John Wick, other characters also made a mark with their fighting skills. These fighting characters stood out due to their unique skills. Some for their resilience, patience, and gun or blade skills, and others for their exceptional driving skills. In this video, we will share the most skilled John Wick fighters, from the least to the most skilled. Please like and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Number 10, Ernest. If you look at the person who played Ernest's role in Chapter 3 of the John Wick series, your mind immediately tells you why he has an advantage. The person who played this role is very tall. 7'4" Serbian NBA star Boban Marjanovic played the role of Ernest, and his height makes him a hell of a match for John Wick. With that massive body of his, he had the ability to hold John Wick up in his throat and incapacitate him. In their first fight sequence, set in a New York public library, Ernest managed to damage John Wick severely, but he had some challenges. Ernest seemed to rely solely on his massive build all the time. Your height shouldn't be your sole advantage when fighting a man as quick as John Wick. Since he didn't have much skill, it contributed to why he had his neck broken with a hardcover. Number 9, Cassian. Cassian was one of John Wick's biggest threats in Chapter 2 of the franchise. One of the biggest skills Cassian possessed was his ability to handle guns. He could make a shot through a crowded New York City road, and no one would notice what happened. This assassin was fighting to protect Santonio D'Antonio, who John sought to kill, but he wasn't successful. The two characters face each other multiple times in John Wick's Chapter 2, but their most prominent scene is the one at the subway station. In the subway fight, Cassian demonstrated how he could shoot a gun in a crowded arena without much notice. But in this fight, John Wick managed to win despite Cassian wounding him in multiple places. John Wick managed to win by stabbing Cassian with a knife. Number 8, Tracker. Most fighters in the John Wick franchise usually face the protagonist boldly without considering the consequences. But for a character like Tracker, he allowed his opponents to come to him at the right time. As his name suggests, Tracker tracks his enemies down at the right time, just like he did with John Wick. A good description of his patience was when he let other assassins try to take the Baba Yaga down and ultimately let the price on his head go up. It was when the price had gone up that he showed up. Another extra perk he had was his doggy companion, and the dog was absolutely trained for the type of work they do. Tracker is also good with the gun and is a beast when handling a gun. It was demonstrated in his fight with John Wick. Number 7, Killa. Scott Adkins was barely recognizable when he played the role of Killa in Chapter 4 of John Wick. Nevertheless, he axed the role as many became a fan of the assassin at the end of the movie. Scott Adkins had to use quite a number of prosthetics to appear as big as he was in the John Wick franchise. This made him a little slower than he was known to be in movies. But that was exactly what the producers needed for someone playing the Sammo Hung-esque character. Someone was neither fast nor slow, just in between. As highlighted, the biggest advantage Killa has is his massive body weight. During his confrontations with John Wick, he used his enormous weight to his advantage. John Wick had a vengeance mission on behalf of his family to kill Killa, but the massively built character makes it hard for the protagonist. Number 6, Miss Perkins. Adrienne Palicki portrayed her role perfectly in the first movie of the John Wick franchise. She has killer moves that would make you marvel at her level of assassin intelligence. As her character played out, Miss Perkins showed she wasn't interested in following the rules. This can be demonstrated when she attacked John Wick in a place where she wasn't supposed to do so. But Miss Perkins doesn't mind the rules so long as there's money involved in her business. For breaking the rules, Miss Perkins makes it up by being very dangerous to fight with. In one of the fights at the Continental with John Wick, she definitely had the upper hand and came close to killing John Wick many times. Her weakness, however, is that she isn't very much aware of her environment. There were moments where her weaknesses reduced her score as a fighter. Number 5, Kirill. Kirill was one of the few characters in the franchise that was very close to taking out John Wick. Swiss martial artist Daniel Bernhardt played the role, and, it is no surprise, he came very close to killing John Wick in the franchise's first movie. Kirill is an all-around assassin with very good gun skills, has good martial moves, and is also exceptional with the car. One of his best scenes in the movie was ramming John Wick with a car during an attack on Viggo Tarasov. Kirill has other killer moves apart from handling the car or gun well. He is also a good martial artist, who can take his opponents down with his bare hands. During one of his fights with John Wick, he beats the protagonist so well that he throws him over a balcony. Number 4, Chidi. Other fighters mentioned might have good driving skills or be very good with the gun, but Chidi's major strength is resilience. Where other fighters feared to enter, Chidi would do so without looking. Marco Zaror played the role and immediately showed his strength in the movie in his first scene. His first act ended with him shielding a wave of arrows. He further demonstrated his strength by shielding one of those arrows with his forearm. In the movie, Chidi's job is pretty simple. His responsibility was to hunt down John Wick, and he did a very good job at that until his last moment in the movie. Number 3, the Shinobi. The Shinobi are 2 assassins that pair up to fight against John Wick. They make the top 3 spots in this list because of the incredible quality they exude in their fights. In fact, there were moments in their fight with John Wick when they could have easily killed him, and they let him live. These 2 individuals are incredibly gifted with the blade and can do whatever they want with it. When faced with them, even the protagonist of the John Wick franchise was left in prone mode many times. One of the things that many consider a disadvantage to them was how they allowed John Wick to live despite being in a position to kill him. Their forgiving spirit made John Wick even stand a chance against them. In the franchise, they made the record of being one of the few people that could walk away from a battle when John Wick is still alive. Number 2, Zero. Zero posed a huge challenge for John Wick in the movie. Not only was he exceptionally good at fighting, but he was also cocky with how he fought. He made his opponents look like amateurs when fighting with them. The role was played by Mark Dacascos, who not only talked the talk, but also showed why he was a worthy villain in the movie. The 2 of his major strengths are how gifted he is with the blade and how smart he is when carrying out tasks of the high table. Many point out overconfidence as one of his many weaknesses. While he has great skill with the blade, he often underestimates his opponents. But there's no doubt that Zero was one of the best fighters that graced the John Wick franchise. Number 1, Kane. If there's anyone who matches John Wick in every aspect, then it all points down to Kane. Kane was known for jaw-dropping martial skills that would leave you stunned for many minutes. With Kane, you don't have a choice but to marvel at how well he was able to perform many of the skills in the movie. But, taken aback, Kane's fight with John Wick was actually a sad one, as the 2 were friends before Kane was ordered to kill John Wick. Kane's fight with John Wick was one of the most interesting fights that came out of the franchise. Now you know some of the top fighters produced by the John Wick franchise. Tell us your best character in the comment section. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on your notification button for more movies like this.